Hello guys, welcome to our virtual classroom, and today we're going to talk about another group of vertebrates, which are the reptiles. And guys, for the beginning, I'd like you to take your books and let's go through this together. And in the book, there are plenty of useful illustrations that I think that are prepared so well that there is no need to dig through doubtful sources of the internet if we have such a good example in here. And guys, and the topic that we're going to talk about today is on page 103. And guys, firstly, some info about reptiles in general. Uh, just as fish, just as amphibians, they are cold blooded, which means that the temperature of their bodies depend on the temperature that is outside. Hence, when it gets too cold, they hibernate in order to survive, because if the body temperature falls below a certain level, they will not be able to perform vitals to live, so they need to hibernate in order to survive. Unlike amphibians, most of reptiles aren't bound so strictly with water environment, so they can, most of them, live on land. Most of reptiles live on land, but of course there are some of them, just like crocodiles for instance, that they are aquatic reptiles. Some both on land and in water. And guys, uh, reptiles are oviparous as well, as fish or amphibians. So that means that they lay eggs. Uh, Unlike fish, though, and unlike amphibians, the eggs are eggs, just like we would think about an egg uh, of a chicken. Those are shells. Those eggs have shells that protect the eggs, the insides, pretty well, so they can be laid on land. So reptiles lay their legs and their eggs, sorry, on land. Eggs are laid on land. What was first? Was egg or chicken? Let me know in the comments below. That's for you. I know the answer, but I guess this might be interesting. Guys, if it comes to the reptiles and the reproducing, it's also quite interesting that most of the reptiles, they uh, once they exit the egg, once the eggs hatch, they look exactly like a tinier adults. So they just have to grow a little bit bigger, but they are equipped with all the necessary skills in order to survive, uh, and they look basically like tiny adults. There is no such cycle as in case of amphibians, where we had tadpoles, and those tadpoles just grew and grew bigger, and nothing like this in case of reptiles. Uh, so guys, let's go to the page 104 and let's talk a little bit about adaptations. Adaptations, oh dear, I just made a typo while writing. Adaptations to live on land. And guys, first of all, reptiles are covered in scales. But those aren't the scales just like fish are. They are much stiffer and dry. Rogowe łuski. Their skin, uh, which is below the scales, is dry. Unlike in amphibians, because amphibians were covered in mucus in order not to dry out. And reptiles are just they just can't dry out. Their bodies are better protected. They have claws, which is something new as well, and they help them to move, to dig in the ground, and to defend themselves. What else? They have eyelids. So we also have eyelids in order to clean our eyes, right? Amphibians also have eyelids, but in case of amphibians, it's mostly protecting against water, protecting them under the water. And here, in case of reptiles, the eyelids basically serve a slightly different purpose because of the difference in the environment. And guys, I told you that amphibians, they breathe using just two simple bags, very primitive lungs. If it comes to reptiles, the evolution is a little bit bigger, because when you take a look at the reptile lungs, you will see that it's not as primitive as the amphibian one. Plus, inside the surface of the lung is a little bit more wiggly, which basically extends the surface of gas exchange. So the lungs already got more complicated and thus more effective. And guys, and we also can divide the reptiles into four main groups: lizards, crocodiles, snakes, and turtles, tortoises. Turtles live on land, tortoises live in water. Uh, in Polish, żółwie. And out of them, crocodiles are, of course, the bigger ones and the most one of the most dangerous. Snakes, there are a few in Poland, but most of them, except for the viper, actually, żmija, mm, are not dangerous, not harmful at all. They don't produce any venom. If it comes to turtles, then there are a few species of turtles in Poland that live here, and lizards, of course, many of them, from smaller to bigger ones. And guys, significance of reptiles. So, first of all, they are an important link in the food chain. Uh, as reptiles are mostly are actually predators, then they basically limit the number population of smaller animals. But on the other hand, the fact that they limit the number of smaller animals means that in some cases they might be really harmful for the environment. So when they eat the insects, when they eat the snails, well, if they eat too many of them, then it's a problem because we get rid of the pollinators that mm, could have pollinated the plants. So sometimes they are harmful for farmers. If it comes to snakes, then snakes, yeah, mostly snakes, their venom is used to produce medicines. So this is really, of course, expensive because it's difficult to collect enough of their venom, but indeed it's really precious in creating medicines. Uh, they are important part of human diet in some regions. Not only their meat, but also their eggs. Just like chicken's eggs, then we have those uh, eggs. And guys, of course, their leather, products made of leather from exotic animals. This is something that we should have finished like a long time ago, but still, people crave those bags made of snake's skin, or boots, or just wallets made of crocodile skin. That's insanity, but yeah, it still happens. By there, I mean mostly snakes and crocodiles. So, guys, if it comes to the protection of uh, reptiles, then there is a huge problem due to the fact that we have our expansion as human kind is so huge that we started to destroy their natural habitats, and it's a huge problem for them. Some people also kill them just because they think they're ugly, because they think they're dangerous. In some of cases, it's totally unjustified because many reptiles that live in Poland are protected by law. And guys, we should, just like in case of amphibians or any other animals, we should take care of natural environments in which those animals live in. Because as you can see, like every single species of animals is an important link in the food chain. And if anything happens to any of the species in the food chain, then the whole food chain might collapse. And if the whole food chain might collapse, that means we are in a huge trouble. Because at some point, as a consequence, as the domino effect, this might also impact, for instance, insects. And if we don't have insects, particular species of insects in a certain area, then we don't have any food because there will be no plant pollinators. So those are things that basically we don't think about uh, in everyday life, but they are extremely important. Okay, guys, that's it for now. Please carefully read the instruction that is attached to this post. Thank you for your attention. Stay at home and take care.